It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Hello, everybody. Once again, welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live. This is Thursday's edition. It's presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. Thanks for joining us for the next hour. I'm Paul Dottino. He's Matt Citak. And we'll talk Giants football with you again for the next 60 minutes at 201-939-4513. You can also hit us up, of course, at hashtag Giants Chat. And if you're not catching the show live, you can find it as part of the archive on our entire podcast network on the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and at giants.com/podcast. Matt, tonight is the Night of Legends.
Oh, yeah.
As the Giants celebrate 100 seasons coming up this fall. And at the theater at Madison Square Garden this evening, it is going to be a blast. Dozens of Giants legends to be in attendance. Bob Pop is going to host the event, and there's going to be a couple of panel discussions. There's going to be some video. There's going to be some busts of the Hall of Famers there for you guys to check out and see. It's going to be quite an affair. I understand there are still tickets available on Ticketmaster.com. All net proceeds go to the Giants Foundation, which is a great cause that helps all kinds of community organizations throughout the New York metropolitan area. So know that, you know, your dollars are going to a good cause if you're able to attend, and you can have a great time as well. But to tie in, tonight is also the night, and this is a big one now. Can I get a drum roll? Tonight is also the night that after weeks of votes in the bracket for the greatest play in football Giants history, we are now down to the Final Four. And as you know, 2 days ago, when Howard Cross was co-hosting with me, I went through the Final Four plays that are up for the vote with Howard, and we ranked them 1 to 4. Matt, you were not here.
No, I was
not. So what I want to do is give Matt an opportunity to chime in and rank the Final Four plays in order of how he would vote for the all-time greatest play in Giants history. Having said that, at 201-939-4513, I want you folks to call in. Many of you probably didn't vote on the computer. Maybe some of you don't even know how to vote on the computer. I don't know. But we're going to make it easy for you. Dial up the phone, 201-939-4513. Pearson is going to take a tally for us. And we are going to have the unofficial Big Blue Kickoff Live Giants play of the franchise. Best play in franchise history.
Sounds good.
Okay? You're only going to be able to vote, though, for the Final Four. We're not going to open it up to the whole bracket again because there were just too many players.
Too many.
Okay? So you have to pick one of the Final Four. And at the end of the show, we'll tally it up, and we'll see who the Big Blue Kickoff Live greatest play in Giants history turns out to be. Now, the 4 plays are as follows. Odell Beckham's spectacular one-handed catch against the Dallas Cowboys. It was a regular season play. There was Victor Cruz, regular season play that helped propel the Giants to a Super Bowl, a 99-yard catch and run against the Jets, beating the arch rivals and sent the Giants on their way to Super Bowl 42. There's also 2 Super Bowl plays, and I know you guys can guess which ones they are. There's the David Tyree helmet catch, followed by, of course, the Eli Manning escape maneuvers in the backfield in Super Bowl 42, and then Super Bowl 46. There is Mario Manningham, the pinpoint throw inside the sideline, Manningham with the toe tap and the completion on the game-winning drive that also beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl and allowed Eli Manning to walk away with his second Super Bowl MVP. So those are the 4 plays. Dial us up, 201-939-4513. Give us your vote out of those 4 for the best play, the greatest play in New York Giants history. Matt, I now leave the floor to you. You got to rank them 1 to 4.
All right. Well, first, just looking at the 4 of them, I got to say, there's got to be a little bit of recency bias here. Because all 4 of these plays were, the earliest one was the Super Bowl in the 07 season, which, again, I'm 31 years old. I remember all 4 of these plays very, crystal clear. And there was a lot of Giants history before I was even alive, including 2 Super Bowl wins. So it seems like there might be a little bit of recency bias, just a little bit, but
Howard and I had that conversation.
But these are 4, spectacular plays in the history of the Giants. There's no arguing that. So I'm going to start from number 4 and work my way up to number 1. For number 4, this is tough. They're all amazing plays. But for number 4, I'm going to go with the Victor Cruz 99-yard touchdown catch. As you mentioned, it sparked the Giants' first their win against the Jets. I believe it was week 16 in the 2011 season. They were down 7-3, and that play gave them the lead, a lead that they never gave up after that. It was an amazing play. It was sort of, Victor Cruz just outrunning everyone. First to catch the ball, ran past the defender, and then once he had the ball in his hands, he just kept going, and, they were nipping at his ankles, but they couldn't catch him. I feel like, though, if that play, maybe it was a 95-yard touchdown catch, it might not be looked at in the same sort of way. The fact that it was 99 yards obviously deserves a lot of respect. I mean, it's the longest play in franchise history, and it was spectacular. But actually, John and I had this conversation a couple weeks ago where when talking about the greatest plays, we were discussing whether or not, the stage in which the play took place.
The context.
Yes. How much of importance should that hold?
You have to vote based on your own context because there was no context given.
Yeah.
So you have to use your own.
No, that is why. Yes, I agree. But I was just saying that with John, I mentioned, obviously the circumstances definitely should matter, but you also just have to take into play how great this actual play was, what the player did in order to complete the play. And so that is why I had to give Odell Beckham's catch the number 3 slot over Victor Cruz's. Okay. Because to this day, I still think that is the greatest catch I've ever seen. Okay. I mean, what he did, he sparked a whole, generation of wide receivers now making one-handed catches. No one really did that unless it was like an accident prior to Odell Beckham. And now you see guys warming up every single week doing one-handed catches in the end zone. You see guys doing it during games. Odell kind of started that. He really did. And that catch, with the pass interference, catching it with 3 fingers while getting dragged to the ground by a defender. That was just a spectacular play. Obviously, they lost the game. It was a regular season game. They lost. That's why it's number 3. Okay. Moving on to number 2. These 2 plays, I will say, I think are definitely the 2 best plays in Giants history. I think the fans got this right with having these 2 in the finals for sure. I'm giving number 2 to the Manningham sideline catch.
Okay.
And
how do you differentiate 1 and 2? Because they're both Super Bowl plays.
They are
in victories.
Yes.
On winning drives.
Yes.
So how do you split them?
I split them because the Manningham play, while it was an amazing pass by Eli, perfectly placed, literally the only place he could have thrown it where it would have been completed. And it was a great, great catch by Manningham, who had one defender draped on him, another one coming at him, about to hit him, catching it, getting his feet down. Definitely deserves its props and deserves to be in consideration for the greatest play ever. However, it was the first play of the drive. And who's to say that even if they had not completed that play, that they wouldn't have been able to still drive down the field and get, the game-winning score? They may not have been able to. We'll never know. We'll never have to know.
We will never know.
Obviously, it's a great thing that we would never.
Hypotheticals are so fun, aren't they?
Yeah.
I hate them.
It is.
Go right ahead.
It's great that we'll never have to find that out. But,
indeed.
But when it comes to the helmet catch, you first have Eli escaping the sack, which everyone, including the cameraman, thought the play was over and that he was getting, drilled in the backfield for a sack. The fact that he was able to escape able to reset himself. And while the Manningham pass itself, I would say, was probably a better pass than the play to Tyree, the helmet catch, what David Tyree did, obviously, it's something that you see once every handful of years. I don't even know. Once every 10 years, you see a player make an amazing catch using like his helmet in order to complete the play.
Okay.
It's just something you never see. And to have that done on the biggest stage in the Super Bowl, going up against what is probably considered the greatest team of all time, the previously 18-0 undefeated New England Patriots, for the play to come on that big of a stage against that opponent, and David Tyree, who was a special teamer. Like, yes, granted, he did score a touchdown earlier that game, a touchdown that everyone seems to forget when talking about that Super Bowl. He did score a touchdown, but that play itself, like, was not known for being a wide receiver. He was, but he was known for his amazing play on special teams.
Right.
So to have a guy seemingly come out of nowhere and make that sort of catch when the Giants needed a play. This was, the very end of the game. I forgot, was it third down, fourth down?
It was third down.
Third down.
It was third down. They did have a fourth down play ready to go they needed it. So it was not a do or die play.
No, but it was very close to being do or die.
It was a respirator play, okay?
Yeah. So all of those factors, when you put them together, I mean, I still think the helmet catch is probably the greatest play in Super Bowl history.
It is.
Period.
I agree with that.
Potentially the greatest play in NFL history.
So
it's certainly in the conversation. So it is definitely my winner for the greatest play in Giants history.
And I'm on board with you. I have no problem with what you said and what you explained and how you put it into context. And I think that the Tyree helmet catch, because it has the two elements in it, I've always said when people have asked me about it, that play has two plays in one. It is the Eli escape that in itself is miraculous, especially when you know that he was not the most athletic guy in the world. For him to be able to execute that escape in itself made it an unbelievable play. If he had just escaped, thrown the long pass, and it had been completed for a huge bomb, it still would have been an incredibly memorable play because of his escape.
Oh, yeah.
Now you combine it with the miraculous helmet part on behalf of David Tyree. Can there be any doubt?
No.
Zero.
Especially when, Tyree has Rodney Harrison, an amazing defender, draped all over him, pulling him to the ground and pulling his arms as he's got the ball pinned to his helmet, and he's maintained it and kept the ball off the ground for the reception.
So as we go to the calls, I can't imagine anybody is not going to be infected by what we just said, and they will all vote for David Tyree. No, but so maybe the question becomes, if you vote for Tyree, which play would be your second best play? Or maybe we just need to see what is the margin of the David Tyree victory, because I can't believe he will not win this.
Yeah, I mean, I
can't believe it.
As soon as we opened the whole bracket a month ago, I think a lot of us kind of said there's one play that if it doesn't win, then I don't know what's going on.
All right. 201-939-4513 is our phone number. We're going to go rapid fire today, folks, because I want to get as many people in as possible to converse about these four plays, the finalists for the greatest play in Giants history. And again, they'll be announcing the winner tonight at the Night of Legends at the theater at Madison Square Garden. Tickets are still available on Ticketmaster. As a reminder, just before we get to those calls, the Giants Huddle podcast has all kinds of long-form interviews with Big Blue and league personnel. Don't forget, you can find it on your favorite podcast platform or at giants.com/podcasts. 2024 season tickets are available now. To learn more, visit giants.com/tickets. And then finally, Giants TV is the official mobile app of the New York Giants with all kinds of features and video highlights. It's free on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and the Giants mobile app. We go to our first phone call of the show, and it is Hugo. You are number one on Big Blue Kickoff Live today.
Hey, good afternoon, guys.
What's up?
Hey, I was going to actually talk about another topic, but I'll stick on point with of the core theme of today. Yeah, I would go with the helmet catch as number one, and for all the reasons you guys noted. But I will add that the escape really is front and center for me because, as you guys noted, it was a third down play. And if Eli gets sacked, they could go on it for fourth down. But really, at that point, that would have been
it's fourth and forever, Hugo. That's what it is. If they got to go for fourth down, it's fourth and forever.
Fourth and forever, and that's it. In my mind, that would have essentially been game. And I think when you watch NFL films, recaps of that Super Bowl, I think it was either Coughlin or Michael Strahan said, "Oh no, he's going to get sacked now." He made some kind of comment like
I think it was Michael. Wasn't it Michael?
Yeah,
I think it was Strahan who was worried about the sack. Well, unfortunately, we all knew what Eli's proclivity of getting out of trouble was, and it wasn't very high because he didn't have those super duper legs.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it was Coughlin who said he threw it up in the air in the middle of it. He was so there were concerns all over.
Yes, there were. I mean, imagine him throwing it in the middle of the field. Oh my God! You never do that. Don't throw it in the middle of the field.
Absolutely. And if I had to pick a second play, it would be the Manningham.
Manningham.
Pass.
Okay.
Yeah, and part of the reason I like that play so much is because it just shows sort of the cool nature of Eli and his gunslinger mentality. Remember, that drive, they had plenty of time to drive down the field. I think it was a little bit over 3 minutes. And frankly, when the play developed and I saw him launch it, I said, "Oh no, we're taking it all at once." I was like, "Why are we taking such a risk with the first play in the drive when we have over 3 minutes?" And it was evident we had time because Ahmad Bradshaw sat down in the end zone.
Yeah, I know.
Instead of killing clock.
Well, hey, look, thank goodness that Belichick decided to double the other two receivers, Nix and Cruz. Thank goodness.
Yep.
Because with the single coverage on Manningham and then the bracket over the top by Harrison, that allowed Eli to dump the ball in.
Yep.
Thank goodness. Appreciate it, Bill.
So those are my thoughts, and I know
good stuff. Thanks, Hugo.
Thank you, Hugo.
201-939-4513. So we've got helmet catch followed by Manningham, which is exactly the way I see it. And if it wasn't for the context of the Super Bowl play, okay, I might, despite the fact that I just explained the two elements to the Tyree play are incredible, the execution on the Manningham play is actually better. The line protection is outstanding. Eli's throw is better than awesome. And the catch is 3 times better than awesome. The execution is computer-like. It is flawless. The execution in the helmet catch is a matter of everything breaks down. I mean, the offensive line breaks down. Sean O'Hara laughs all the time. He goes, if I didn't let those guys through, then the play never would have happened. But I let the guys through. And I've had fellow offensive linemen bust horns about they could have called holding on that play. And then, of course, Tyree making the incredible grab. So the execution is actually very ragged on that play compared to the Manningham play, which is surgical.
True. But if you take out the circumstances of the Manningham play, you're talking about a 38
just a catch.
Reception,
well, that's why I said
great play. But
the context of the Super Bowl with the execution of the Manningham play, I'd have to grade it on a different scale in order to bump that up to 1. I'd have to take the Super Bowl context out of the Tyree play if I was going to drop it. I can't do that.
Yeah.
You got to be fair, right? If you put context onto one play, you got to put it on the others.
100%.
So
there's some plays that, didn't make the Final Four that if you're just talking about the play itself, were probably better than the Manningham catch.
Yeah.
But the Manningham catch given the circumstances is what makes it one of the greatest plays in franchise history.
The execution even on the Beckham play, that's not a great throw. The throw is high.
Yeah.
That's why he makes the catch that he makes, because it's not a great throw.
And because he got interfered.
Yes, that too. The Cruz play, that's an easy toss to the sideline, and then the Jets take bad angles, and Cruz just plows down the sideline and goes for the touchdown.
Cruz turned on the Jets.
He did, and I like that. Good pun there by Matt. But the execution in all phases on the Manningham play is by far the best pure surgical execution of the 4 plays.
Yes, agreed.
That's why you have to interpret the context of the question. If it's execution, the Manningham play is the best execution. But the best play, that's got to be Tyree. 201-939-4513. Marty and Manahawkin, you're next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Hi.
Matt, how are you?
Hey, Marty.
I'm gonna go with the helmet catch also, but I go by the thing where I think it was the individual effort alone by Tyree with the helmet catch, because back then, if my memory's right, when he caught the ball and he went down, he was tackled on his way down to the ground. The way he held that ball, if that ball would have touched the ground, even if he maintained possession,
correct,
the rule was that the ball could not touch the ground. That would have been a null play, I think.
Well, you have to have control. The ball can touch the ground as long as you have complete control, and I think it would have been hard for the officials to say that, given the way he was off balance and reaching behind and over his head. I think if it touched the ground, there's a real good chance they would have overturned it.
Yeah.
A really good chance.
Yeah, so, I'll go with that. And also, I think for the second, I hate to jump on board with everybody else, but I think that Manningham catch was, just the footwork to stay in bounds and the way Eli dropped it in, and you couldn't have thrown that ball anywhere else but where it was. So I'll go with that. I'll go with the Manningham catch as number 2.
Good stuff. Thank you, Marty. Appreciate
you.
it. 201-939-4513. We go to Wilson in Roxbury. You're next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Bully!
What's up?
How are you? Hey, listen,
Wilson.
real quick. I want to get to something else, but I think the helmet catch, it's got to be number 1. You know why? Because it was a franchise-changing play. Without that play, I don't know if they go on to win another Super Bowl, because, everything could have changed,
That's true.
And you know why I can't put Mario Manningham second, Paulie? Because without Victor Cruz 99-yarder, there is no Manningham catch. So that's why Victor's got to be second.
Okay. A vote for Cruz for number 2. We got it.
Well, yeah. Listen, real quick, a couple of things really quick. Daniel Jones, to me, feels he's very comfortable in his own skin. You can see it on the podium. Like, he knows that this year is his last year. If he does good, he'll stay here. If he doesn't, he'll be somewhere else. So he says, the way he's acting, like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and if it works out, fine. If it's not, I'll be out of here. Also, real quick, Sports Illustrated basically took my material from 3 years ago and posted it now. I said 3 years ago that Joe Judge was one of the worst hires in NFL history, and now they came up with that. And my last thing, Paulie, can I be controversial for a minute? Because every time
like you weren't already. Go ahead, Wilson. One quick comment, please. We want to move on here.
Because you know what? Every time I want to be positive, I always see something on one of the shows there, and it just blows my mind. Like the other day, I was scrolling. I just happened to catch Johnny with Kim Jones, right? And at the end of the show, Johnny asked Kim, what will be a good season? And Kim says, well, I want the Giants to be at least with a winning record, 9-8. And it's perfectly fair. And then Johnny says, what about 8-9? I mean, Johnny, if the Giants go 8-9, Paulie, I want everybody gone, man. I don't want any more improvements. I want them to make the playoffs this year. I can't wait anymore. Why could I don't want to. If they go 8-9, I'm done. I'm done with everybody.
Get yourself a nice cold glass of iced tea and then kick up your feet on the patio and enjoy the rest of the day, okay? He's quite a character.
Oh, yeah. It's always entertaining when he calls.
We go back to the phones. We've got 3 votes for the helmet catch, 2 for Manningham in second place, 1 for Cruz. Len from Maryland is next on BBKL. Hello.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Thanks for the opportunity to weigh in. I'm looking forward to being able to do this. A couple of things before I make my pick. all four were pass plays. All four involved Eli. Makes me wonder where Eli's going to rank when you do your 100 greatest players in Giants history.
We can't tell you.
Yeah, I think that will be interesting, and I think recency might. I'm a great Eli fan. I mean, he was a great player. Can't wait for him to get in the Hall of Fame. But I think that recency thing that Howard and Matt and you, Paulie, talked about. It's quite evident in the voting that's where it is. But that being said, I'm going with the helmet catch. I mean, his greatest play in Super Bowl history. It's probably going to be one of the reasons why Eli gets into the Hall of Fame. I mean, if you're part of the greatest play in Super Bowl history, you belong in the Hall of Fame.
That's a really good point, isn't it?
Yeah, very valid.
Yeah, so I would, and I think that's what the Hall of Fame is all about. It's all about your contribution to the name NFL. And geez, I mean, Eli's just right there in the middle of it.
Wasn't it Rich Eisen of NFL Network who once said very eloquently that if you want to determine if a guy's a Hall of Famer, think of it this way. I'm going to tell, in general, a history of the National Football League. Is that guy's name going to come up in that conversation?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Well, guess what? Eli Manning's name is going to come up.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Two-time Super Bowl MVP, part of the helmet catch. His name is going to be there.
Beating Brady and Belichick in the Super Bowl
Oh, my
twice.
God. Bring on. Yeah.
So,
his impact on the NFL.
And that's a really good litmus test. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also look at these four plays. I mean, he's right in the middle of recency or not. He's right in the middle of them. All right, I go with the Tyree catch. I'll go with the Manningham catch. Maybe for an absurd reason, but I was in the building, and the feeling.
That's okay.
The feeling was unbelievable.
Remember, we said you have to put your own context on the play.
Yeah, there it is.
And if that's your context, Len, you got it.
I was there for Beckham.
He was there. Okay.
Yeah, I was there for the Beckham catch, and and I have a picture of it hanging on my wall. I just it was the Super Bowl, you know.
Gotcha.
And it was the second of the Super Bowls that I attended, so it was, I saw the first one. You can't miss the first one.
Nope.
I'd been waiting. We would all been waiting a lot of years for that. Can I just throw out a couple of plays that go past?
Real quick, Len, because my lines are full. I want everybody to get a chance to vote.
The Chase Blackburn interception.
With Gronkowski downfield.
11th Super Bowl on the 5-yard line, 50 yards down the field covering Gronkowski.
Incredible play.
I turned to my wife and I said, we're going to win this game. I
wish you had turned to me and said that because I was still nervous.
Yeah. And Jay Alford's sack, somehow this sticks in my mind, Paulie. Mm-hmm. Jay Alford's sack in the 07 Super Bowl of Brady in the last 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. And I think should have been in the Final Four. I'm going way back now. That Summerall field goal against Cleveland
in the snow.
It just changed everything. Not just for the Giants. It changed the NFL.
That was before Twitter, Len.
Yes, it was. Hey, thanks for the opportunity.
You got it, Len. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Len.
201-939-4513. We're going to try to go real quick here. Cliff in New York, you're next on the show. Hello.
Hello. Listen, I wish I could be happy given Victor Cruz's play number 2, but I'm just not. Wasn't that in 07?
Yes.
Yeah. So we had a 17-year drought of championships, and we're 6-6, and we play the Jets, and I remember that play, and we went on a run. We went on a 3-1 run to close the season, right?
No, wait a minute. Wait.
2011.
That's the second Super Bowl.
2011 season.
Why did I say? Yeah, I'm thinking. Wait a minute. That's not right because he wasn't at the first one.
Yeah.
The second one was Nix, Manningham, Cruz.
Yeah.
Those were your three receivers in 11. Yeah. You caught me in a brain lock moment. I'm sorry.
Oh, so Victor's play was in 11.
Yes, week 16
The
of
two
the
plays
2011.
in 11 are the JPP block field goal in Dallas.
Yes.
That turned the season around. Followed, and then also the other one, it depends on how you want to weigh them, which one you think is one, which one you think is two. But those two plays are the most important regular season plays of that season. JPP's block field goal in Dallas and Cruz's 99-yard catch and run touchdown against the Jets. You can name them 1 and 2, 2 and 1, however you want. But that's what led that team to championship.
I didn't think JPP's play got enough credit, and there's so many great plays. But I would put his number one. The other thing I had was for the obvious choice for number one. In Coughlin's book, he said he was standing on the sideline while one of the defensive linemen had a hold of his jersey, and he was afraid that
they thought the whistle was going to be blown on Eli.
Exactly, to protect Eli.
Sure.
And was it Richie Seibert that was pushing on the defensive line?
Richie was there. Sean was there. It was a mess.
It was Richie and Sean.
It was a jail bust. It was what it was. The offensive line gave Eli no help on that play.
Wait a minute. No, they were pushing on people. That's what I saw. I've seen it since then.
After the penetration. It's easy to push guys after they've already beaten you.
Well, they pushed him at the end. They didn't give up. They put without that push. I don't think he gets away from that jersey grab.
Maybe not. Maybe not. So you're gonna go helmet catch. And what's your second vote?
Then I'm taking Victor
Cruz. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff.
All right.
Thanks, Cliff. You had me in brain lock there for a second. 201-939-4513. Line 3 has Scott from Mexico. You're next on the show, and what's your vote?
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Hi.
Well, he could be in Mexico. He could be on vacation.
No relation. Anyways, I'm also going to go with everybody. It's the helmet catch. But I have a question on that, and I'll tell you who my second choice was. About 3 plays later, Asante Samuel would have dropped a sure interception.
I don't think so.
Eli Manning.
I don't think he was going to intercept that ball. I think that's a misnomer by people who hate Eli and want to get down on him.
I don't hate Eli, but if
he was not, Samuel was not going to get that ball. It was too high for him.
Anyways, if he had done it, would it have changed your perspective of the play itself? Because it was still a great play no matter what. In fact, the referee was about to call it, if you listen to him and his comments afterwards. And I was just curious if Asante Samuel would have gotten the interception, would it have changed your perspective because it was still a great play anyways?
Not on the play itself as a play, but in context, it would have to change.
I think, without a doubt, it would be 100% looked at differently. I mean, I'm a humongous New York Mets fan, and in the 2006 NLCS, Andy Chavez made what was one of the greatest catches in MLB playoff history. No one talks about it because the Mets went on to lose the game in the ninth inning.
Yeah, my second choice is actually different than everybody's. I think it's Odell Beckham's catch. And the reason I say that is it changed the entire dynamic of the NFL. And there are very few plays that do that. And so for me, it was the most exciting play to watch, despite what the end result was. As you attested to, everybody is catching the ball with one hand, so it changed the whole NFL. And there are very few plays in the NFL, that everybody wants to do. So those are my 2 selections, and I'll let you get on to the next
And that's
caller.
a good way to put that into context. And if you do it that way, it's the only play you could vote for, number 1.
Yeah.
I mean, Beckham became a worldwide celebrity off of that catch.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see anyone attempting to catch the balls off their helmet now after the helmet catch. But after Odell's,
That's also because it's a lot easier to do the one-handed catch with those stickum gloves than it is the helmet catch.
That is true.
I mean, when you get down to it. 201-939-4513. The lines are open. We've had so far, I think, all of our regular callers come in and vote. How about some first-time callers? We don't get a lot of first-time callers on this show. This is a great time to get in because we have approximately 20 minutes to go, and all the lines are open. 201-939-4513. This will be a great chance for you to get on for the first time and give a vote. And look, it's easy to vote. Okay, you don't even have to have a great topic to talk about. So if you're shy, right, and you haven't called because you're shy, this is a great time to call because then all you have to do is vote. You don't have to even talk about anything else.
Yeah, it's true. But for one of the, I don't even know which caller it was. One of the callers brought up a couple of other plays that did not make the Final Four, but deserve some recognition.
Well, there
They're
a ton.
A ton, yes.
It's 100 years of football.
Of 100%. But, if we're talking about significance in Giants history, and I don't know where this play landed in its bracket when it was in the early stages of the voting, but in the 2011 NFC Championship, the forced fumble on the punt that set the Giants up in overtime and field goal range and won the game.
Jaquan Williams and Devin
Jaquan
Thomas.
Williams and sent them to Super Bowl 46. That is a play, I think, if we're talking about potentially just missed the cut, for me, that would be one of the plays that just missed the cut.
Howard sat here 2 days ago and was very disappointed that Mark Ingram's third down catch conversion against Buffalo in Super Bowl 25 had not made it. Ingram was spinning, juking, diving, fighting, wrestling to get that third down conversion.
Yep.
And had to literally, fight through 4 bills to get that first down. I mean,
that's another one.
And in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
A winning Super Bowl. That's got a lot of context to it. Again, so Howard was really bummed because remember, he got a ring out of that game.
Yeah, I'm with Howard. Again, as I said at the start of the show, the 4 plays, while as amazing as they are, clearly shows a little bit of recency bias among our fans, myself included, because those probably would be the 4 plays that I would put into the Final Four.
Now, how about this one? You want to put context around it? Big Blue, Giants, rough, tough, rugged, hardworking. Bavaro's catch against San Francisco.
I was thinking the same thing.
Is that not the epitome of New York Giants football?
Yeah.
I mean, if you just put it into that context, forget about the game, forget about the Super Bowl ring that was at stake. You just say, what's the epitome of Giants football? Sims back to throw, over the middle, Bavaro, and then boom, 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 boom. Plowing people, carrying people. I believe 8 49ers, suffered the consequences of Mark Bavaro's catch and run on that play. Is that not Giants football in a nutshell?
It is. I feel like the Bavaro play, the Ingram play, maybe the forced fumble on the punt that I was talking about, if we had, announced each round of the bracket, we started at 64. If we announced it, sort of like March Madness, and we got to the Elite 8, I feel like those 3, well, especially the Bavaro and Ingram play, but probably the forced fumble on the punt as well, I feel like those 3 plays would have made the Elite 8.
And then the other thing that Howard and I discussed is that any play that LT made in the night game against the Saints when he was harnessed up with only one arm and played the entire game basically with a separated shoulder and then one arm and absolutely manhandled and dominated the Saints that night. And every time they'd come off the field, he'd be on the bench and they'd be restrapping him up. And the dude was like in the most pain like anybody could possibly imagine. And he went out there with one arm and dominated the game. Sacks, forced fumbles, you name it, he did it. Any one of those plays. Any one of those plays. If it's LT, doesn't matter. That's it. It's good.
I was about to say,
it qualifies. It's in.
You could, put
But
10,
somehow
10 to 20 different LT plays on a dartboard.
Somehow
and throw a dart.
He didn't make it into the Final Four.
You throw a dart and whatever it lands on deserves some recognition.
Lawrence Taylor's going to be there tonight at the Night of Legends at the theater at Madison Square Garden. And I got to tell you, I don't want to be the person that tells him he's not in the Final Four. Because with all the plays that Lawrence Taylor made, the greatest defensive player in the history of the universe, he did not get a play in the Final Four. Just saying. 201-939-4513. Aiden in New Jersey. You're next on the show. Hello.
Hi, how's it going, guys?
Okay, how are you?
I'm good. So I'm gonna pick the helmet catch as the greatest play. I feel like that's the obvious choice, as everybody's saying, but I feel like just obviously from the throw, the escape, the catch, and obviously it helped the Giants win the Super Bowl, and it ended the Patriots' perfect season.
Yep.
So, and I mean the Manningham catch was great as well by like that helped win the Super Bowl as well. But I feel like just having I feel like that was the bigger of the two plays.
So you're going to go with Tyree, and Manningham is going to be number 2 on your vote?
Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you,
Awesome.
Aiden. Appreciate
Right.
it.
Thank you, Aiden.
Adam is in Atlanta on line 2. You're next on BBKL. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Hey, Adam.
Hi. I'm gonna go with what everybody's saying. That's got to be the helmet catch, because that catch won us that Super Bowl. That and the fact that we got all that pressure on Tom Brady in that game early and often won that game for us. But I did have a question about the Giants' offense this year. Going into the past 2 seasons, it was pretty obvious that we were going to be run heavy with Barkley and design runs for Jones, using his legs to extend plays and, take the pressure off Barkley by thinking it's going to be a pass, but no, he runs with the ball. So going into this season, having lost Barkley, traded him in sense for Singletary, and then gone out and got a premier wide receiver, Jones is probably not going to be 100% of what he was when he starts the season. No one ever is coming off a bad ACL tear. So I don't know if they're going to limit his runs. So what do you see as our offensive philosophy to start this season? Are we going to be more balanced? Are we just still going to be run heavy? Because I don't see us throwing the ball all over the field to start off.
Adam, can we take it off the air? You'll listen in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I'll make this real quick. I think you're going to see a running back by committee. I don't think you're going to have a bell cow back there. I do think Singletary will have more touches than the rest of them. I think you could see Tracy emerge as a third down back. I think that's possible. And I think the Giants are going to spread the ball around a lot in the passing game and use a lot of short passes as pseudo runs. That's what I think you're going to see a lot of.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think in order for the running back touches to be a little more spread out, I think you're going to have to see guys like Tracy, Eric Gray, the reserves step up. I think they're going to have to show some growth during training camp. Otherwise, I'd have to disagree a little bit and think that Singletary probably will take majority of the touches. Again, if Tyrone Tracy steps up during training camp and at least shows that he can be a great pass catcher, which he obviously did during college.
Oh, he was a receiver originally.
Yeah, then that changes things. But I think those younger guys need to first show something. Otherwise, Singletary, I think, will get a majority of the touches. But in terms of the offense overall, I do think it's going to be a lot more balanced now. I mean, as the caller mentioned, Saquon, was our best player on offense the last couple seasons. So it's no surprise that the team was a lot more run heavy. You want to get the ball into your best player's hands. Now, you can make an argument that Malik Neighbors is the most talented player on offense, weapon-wise, with Wan'Dale Robinson probably number 2. And so I do think we're going to see a lot more balance between the run game and the pass game. And a lot of it also, as we know and as I've talked about for years now, a lot of that's going to depend on the play of the offensive line. The offensive line can step up.
It always comes back to them, doesn't it?
It always does. If the offensive line can play well, then it gives the offense the ability to be a lot more well-balanced. If the offensive line struggles, then to start the game, the offense is going to struggle to sustain drives, and it's going to put more pressure on the defense, and then the Giants might find themselves trailing and having to throw the ball more. So, as we always talk about, a lot of it is going to come down to the offensive line. But, I do think the offensive line will make an improvement from last year because, as we've talked about, with how poorly last season went, you can only go up in terms of the offensive line play. So I do think at the end of the day, we will see a lot more balance within the offense.
Okay, 201-939-4513. Vote for your favorite of the Giants' plays in franchise history. Right now, obviously, the helmet catch has been a unanimous selection. Mario Manningham's catch in the second Super Bowl win over the Patriots right now is running in second place. We go to Rich in Virginia. You're on line 3. Hello.
Good afternoon, Godfather and Matt. Agree with the majority about the helmet catch, but something that didn't make the 100, and I'm sure Paulie remembers this, maybe not Matt. In that same drive, in 42, after David makes that helmet catch, I believe the Giants are on timeouts. There's a very critical third down
Steve
pass.
Smith.
That's right, on the right sideline, and he went out of bounds. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The next play is a touchdown to Plaxico.
Yep.
Left corner.
That's right. Without that catch, because I think they had 42 seconds left when they kicked the ball back to Brady. And we were sweating bullets, on the conference call.
You think?
Well, I tell you, for years and years and years, there's two plays that are inches. The pass down the left sideline to Randy Moss when Jabril Wilson came over there, and that was close.
The deflection actually was by Corey Webster, and I've often busted Corey and said, I'm glad you didn't clip your fingernails that morning, because that was about as close to a fingertip deflection as you could get. Corey was over there on two of those plays.
Right.
Jabril did help him out, but Webster was the one who really had to get his game in order, because as he had said to me many times, I knew they were going to Moss. Brady was just going to heave it, and I had to do something to stop him.
Right. And then flash forward to 46. Last play of the game. Remember, Gronkowski had that bad ankle.
The Hail Mary into the end zone.
That's right. If you look at that play a million times, and I've had this discussion with a lot of my friends.
It got a little closer than you'd like, didn't it?
Really close. The ifs of history. With giant luck, I go back to 61. With giant luck, if Gronkowski didn't have that ankle, he catches that deflection. What do you think?
Maybe. I'll say this. That cluster of players included Kenny Phillips, if you'll recall. Yeah. And I remember talking to him afterwards, and he did not realize that Gronkowski had such good position, and until he had later seen the play, he didn't know how close Gronkowski was. I'm not going to lie to you. At the time, I was like, all right, fine, it was good. And then after I saw the replay myself, I was like, oh, man, that was closer than it needed to be.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with Rich on this one. I don't know if you guys watched the Patriots documentary, The Dynasty, that came out.
I did not see all of it.
Well, they talked about that exact play, and I believe Rob Gronkowski and I want to say Julian Edelman both talked on that documentary about how that is like the play that is the biggest regret in their lives, because it was literally inches away from being completed, and then obviously
Gronk thought he was going to get it.
Not that he thought he was going to get it. Well, he just was saying that he was so close, and if he had reacted a split second earlier, that he would have made the catch.
Well, injuries are part of the game. Sorry.
That's right. One other last thing. Another play didn't make the 100. And by the way, I voted and all. Kudos for the Giants for putting that on there. Brought back a lot of good memories. Another key play. Third quarter, I think, 46. There's a fumble. Who recovers the ball? Ahmad Bradshaw. Now that was deep in our territory. That could have been brutal if the Patriots had gotten that. But anyway, really appreciate the 100th year anniversary, and pray to God that this year is better than the ones we've had. We've had enough of them. Bad years.
Thank you, Rich.
It was actually Chris Snead that recovered that.
Snead was in on one. Bradshaw had one at one point early in that game, I want to say. I can't remember now exactly how much time was left.
I'm seeing here one of the first plays of the fourth quarter, Bradshaw fumbled it on the Giants' own 11-yard line.
Right.
And Snead recovered it.
Snead was credited with that recovery?
Yeah.
All right. Hickson had one in Green Bay that was big. McQuarters had actually Butterfinger hands in that game. We forget about that sometimes. That made me very nervous. One other play that I just want to bring up for one moment here, because you older Giants fans will remember this. 1981, and it's not a big play except that it was important. Joe Dinello's field goal that beat the Dallas Cowboys in the season finale in 1981 put the Giants back in the playoffs for the first time since 1963. The significance of that play, I can't even begin to tell you, because I will tell you this, as a youngster growing up, as a young kid who watched Fran Tarkenton and Ron Johnson and Bob Tucker and Pete Gogolak and all those guys, and went to the Yale Bowl, there were moments that I just did not know if I was ever going to see the Giants make the playoffs as a youngster. And then when Dinello split the uprights at Giant Stadium to beat Dallas with that field goal, and of course there's a fumble recovery, in there where Tony Dorsett fumbles at the end, and Danilo winds up kicking the tire, and then he kicks the winner in overtime. You know, that was such a significant turning point because it put the Giants back into the postseason again after what seemed like 500,000 years. Now, they didn't get in until the next day when the Jets beat Green Bay in Shea Stadium. The Giants needed the Jets to win on Sunday. The Giants game was on a Saturday, Matt. The Jets played on Sunday, hosting the Packers. Had the Packers won that game, the Giants would have lost the tiebreaker and not made the playoffs.
So you were rooting for the Jets, huh?
With every single ounce of blood in my body. And they whacked the Packers that day. Absolutely whacked them. And the Giants made the playoffs. And that was the beginning of the turnaround, thanks to George Young as the general manager. 201-939-4513. We've got about 8 minutes left. Back to the phones. Jay in Phoenix, you're next on the show. Hello.
Hey, yeah, just wanted to chime in on the greatest plays. For me, I voted for the Eli Manning escape Tyree catch as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it was the greatest play in the greatest Super Bowl I've ever seen.
Sure.
I loved that Super Bowl just because of the 18-0 Patriots going into that game, the black suits getting off the plane the guys were wearing with the funeral in their perfect season, and and Plaxico's prediction, and they delivered. Michael Strahan before that drive, you guys, I mean, every BBKL Live starts off with that. It was just the greatest moment.
Believe it and it will happen.
History.
17-14. Believe it and it will happen.
Yeah. And then the other ones, I voted for all the big Super Bowl plays. You know, the Manningham catch was my number 2.
Okay.
And you respect Odell and Cruz; those are amazing plays, and they're great plays. You know, but the Super Bowl, the Ingram play in Super Bowl 25, I mean, unbelievable individual effort.
No doubt.
And then Super Bowl 21, I was just about 8 or 9 years old during that game. But that I remember the McConkey catch after it went through Bavaro's hands. I know there's a big safety before halftime.
Yeah.
Because the Giants.
George Martin's safety on John Elway. There's the goal line stand with the 3 linebackers, Banks, Carson, and Taylor on the goal line stand, which then Carlos misses the field goal. I mean, every one of the Giants Super Bowls has an entire wall of game-changing plays that they were able to be on the positive side of that allowed them to win. I mean, even the Super Bowl 25, Stephen Baker's touchdown catch. You know, his diving touchdown catch as he's reaching for it in the corner of the end zone from Hostetler right before the end of the first half. That's a huge play. Nobody ever talks about that, but they needed that touchdown.
That's what it takes to win a Super Bowl. That's what it takes to win a Super Bowl.
How about Hostetler holding the ball in the end zone on the safety by Bruce Smith, which would have been a touchdown had he dropped it?
You need a collection of, great plays that span almost throughout the entire season in order to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So we see it's tough to win a Super Bowl.
And it's funny? You want to talk about significant plays that are just mundane plays that take on significance and context? In the 1990 NFC Championship game against San Francisco, the Giants are coming down the field on what becomes Matt Barr's winning field goal that ends the three-peat, as Pat Summerall loves to say on CBS. And there are 2 plays in that drive. There's a pass play to Mark Bavaro near midfield. That's a very significant gain that gets them into position to at least challenge for the winning field goal. And then there is a run by Otis Anderson right before Barr kicks the field goal that finally puts them in position. Those plays are monumental. And they're mundane plays. There's nothing fancy about them. But Bavaro gets them into position, and then Anderson lines up Barr to where Barr can kick the winner. And without either one of those plays, they don't win that game. Because Barr's kick barely made it, right? Barr's kick barely made it inside the uprights. If he's back another 3 yards? Was Anderson's run? Do you have it?
No, I don't know.
Anderson's run was just a simple plow up the middle for just a little bit. But it helped line up Barr for the kick. Incredible stuff.
They won. That was my second favorite. Super Bowl 42 is my favorite Giants game ever. But that NFC Championship game on their run to Super Bowl 25 was my best. 5 field goals. It took 5 field goals against the 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers going for the three-peat. You love Dick Lynch at the end of that game. The three-peat's over, right? I mean, an incredible moment. So the thing that I wanted to just point out real quick is I've said this before because, I lived in Dallas for a little while, and you'd always hear that the Cowboys are America's team, that, Jerry Jones would say that the old stadium in Irving was open so God could watch his team.
Okay, good.
But has anybody ever thought about this? Look at the Giants' runs, in particular 25, 42, and 46. There are miraculous plays
every one of them,
over and over.
Yes.
And I say to my friends and family, maybe God's a Giant fan. And every once in a while, we go through a decade of being humble.
All right, hold on. Hey, big guy. Where were you the last decade or so? We could have used a little help, okay? All right, go ahead.
I think maybe we had a heavy price to pay for 42 and 46. No. Anyway, I love being a Giant fan. There's always hope. That's the thing. There's always hope that and they'll have these great miraculous runs. So
great stuff. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate the phone call. 201-939-4513. We've got just a couple of minutes left. If somebody else wants to just squeeze in one more vote for the greatest play in Giants history, I'll take it. I don't want to slight Byron Hunt, who also came up with a big turnover in that 81 finale against Dallas. Byron was one of the guys I used to love talking to back in the day, and I don't want to slight him either, as we mentioned some of these other unsung heroes and unsung plays in Giants history. Matt, I will say this. One of the other things that excites me about this year is the Duke, the documentary that HBO and NFL Films is putting together to honor Wellington Mara, who was just the gentleman's gentleman. I say this to people all the time. Very rarely can you go through life and not find one person who will say one negative word about another human being. He's that guy. Never one negative word from anyone about Wellington Mara if you knew him. Now, if you knew him from afar, didn't know him, just read him in the papers, Giants are no good, Giants are losing, I wish ownership, whatever. All right, I'm talking about people who knew the man. No one who ever knew Wellington Mara could ever say one negative word about him. He was a special, special dude. I was proud to call him my friend for many years and miss him terribly, and I think about him as the Giants go into their 100th season of pro football, because this organization is the 4th oldest organization in the National Football League. But in my mind, it still tops.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why he is a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Should have been in a lot sooner, to be honest.
He helped
They made
change,
him wait too long.
He helped change the game. A lot of what we see in today's NFL was impacted by Wellington Mara.
The revenue share in particular.
Yeah.
That was absolutely a game changer that allowed this league to flourish and become what it is.
Yeah, so I agree. I'm very excited for that to come out. I'm very excited for Hard Knocks to start. Less than 2 weeks to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, I think, going to give a very cool inside look on how the front office operates during the offseason. I mean, we get the last couple of years, we've gotten a good taste with Giants life of what goes on during the offseason. But this is going to go, even more in depth. We have, I think it's like 5 or 6 hour long episodes that I haven't seen any of it yet, but it's going to,
I believe there's a preview tonight at the Night of Legends.
Yeah.
At the Garden.
I believe you're right.
I believe there's going to be a short preview of Hard Knocks tonight, so that'll be a cool screening. I have bribed the HBO people to see if they could somehow make sure Pearson gets into the final edit. I don't know if it's going to happen.
I feel like Pearson might make the cut.
Well, they kept upping the price on me. Every time I asked, they said no. And then they'd come back with a higher price, and I kept meeting it. But after like the 5th time, I kind of ran out of cash. So I don't know if Pearson's making the final cut.
I can let you borrow some cash.
Folks, once again tonight, is it 6 o'clock, Pearson? 6 o'clock tonight, the Night of Legends at the theater at Madison Square Garden. I believe Ticketmaster still has a few tickets available if you want to go online and join us for an incredible night of celebration for the tradition and the history of New York Giants football. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Big Blue Kickoff Live. It is presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. You can catch us on podcast platforms everywhere and at giants.com/podcasts. For Matt Citak, I'm Paul Dottino. We'll see you next time on Big Blue Kickoff Live. So long, everybody.